Welcome back to another video, larceny enthusiasts. The Houston Breakout update has come out, and with 2 new heists, 4 new guns, and a lot of masks, gloves, and outfits, this is the biggest update yet. So, there's a lot to unpack here. Well, to start off, we have the Consumable System. This allows you, if you're unfamiliar, to pick up and store up to 3 armor repair kits or first aid kits. The amount you can hold can be increased via a skill, which I'll be going over later. This addition is very much needed as it takes regular armor and now makes it more manageable. I can see a reason to use 3 or 4 plate armors now because of it, and being able to heal health with the first aid kits actually helps no matter what, and I figure it could be used to alleviate the pain of the armor piercing modifier. This new mechanic is actually quite fun, as you're able to place these down for your teammates whenever you need them. The only issue I have here is that there's no animation or sound whenever you're using them, making it kind of hard to tell if you've actually used it or run out of items in your pocket. There is the Tripwire Laser, which seems pretty sweet for loud assassin gameplay, as it has infinite uses. Of course, the downside is that you only get 1, or at least what we've been told, as this makes it slightly less useful for stealth gameplay. Onto the skill changes, there are a few sneaky nerfs that we haven't seen yet. Steady Hands and Triage got nerfed from a percentage-based buff, which would compound with Medic and Fortitude, to now a base health increase. This seems to be in response to how heavily favored health was in the previous introduction of Adrenaline. Field Surgery got removed and replaced with Walking Pharmacy, which is the skill that increased the consumable capacity by 2. Precision Shot got changed by landing 2 headshots without missing or swapping guns, grants a bonus damage on your next body shot. This skill requires a 4x optic or greater. They removed the edge requirement, but it seems like it's still slightly worse overall. Locked and Loaded has been added to the Gunslinger skill line. This is just ammo funnel for your unequipped weapon. Headhunter is also added to the Sharpshooter line, allowing you to restore 1 ammo every 1.5 seconds if you have edge while aiming down the sight. And finally, Assassin Metal got reworked to give little less health while you're at high HP, but instead allows you to get HP if you have 1 armor chunk, which honestly feels a little bit better for overall use. Now on to the DLC content. We'll start with the Tailor Pack and other customization. Of course, this is all subjective. Personally, I love these outfits. 2 of them are definitely clean, the Civil and the Court Order. The other 2 are fun long coats as well, which I think is a new to the Payday franchise. These being the Judgment Day and Dangerous Habits, it definitely feels like they were willing to go further with these items, and it just feels awesome. Each of these outfits as well comes with a mask. Personally, these masks fit the style, but aren't exactly my cup of tea, and I'll elaborate in a few moments. Despite how I feel, they're able to be fully customized. The update also includes 3 free masks: Feeding Time, Perjury, and Crime Scene. I love how appropriate they are for the setting of this heist, and they're also decent canvases for you to customize. Personally, I don't think the masks are as iconic or customizable as the ones from Payday 2, just because they're slightly more complicated rather than basic, and that they're combined with the fact that they have very little patterns to choose from. Still, they really seem to have developed a style for the Payday 3 mask, which seems to look great in itself, and I'm sure over the years we'll get plenty of masks that we can customize with. The gloves, you can judge them for yourselves, but one of the more interesting pairs would be the OJ gloves, the Latin print. This is the first pair of gloves in the entire franchise that actually is unique per hand. But the issue that has been in the game since launch is that the gloves just feel very samey. Overall, I give the Tailor Pack and customizations of this update a very solid 6.5 out of 10. Really solid suits, mediocre gloves, and okay masks. And on to the weapon platforms. They all come with an interesting new mechanic for the weapon type. For the DLC guns, they're all 3-round bursts. We have the Chanet S3, otherwise known as its real-life counterpart as the FAMAS Felon. And this assault rifle does decent damage, allowing you to one-shot, headshot, light swat. You shoot 1 round, and of course 2 others are going to follow. This in turn does increase ammo consumption. However, with good trigger discipline, you may manage. We have the M7 Pursuivant, otherwise known as its real-life counterpart as the BF-12. Unlike the FAMAS, the real gun does not have the 3-round burst mode, so it's a little bizarre that they strapped it on this variant. And honestly, with its fire mode, it really makes the shotgun a lot less powerful than what it could be. With its ammo count of 12 and the fact that it can be a one-shot headshot, you really feel like you're wasting shells and reloading constantly. And lastly, we have the Picchio Duro 5, otherwise known as the Beretta 93R. This gun is just like in Payday 2, it's a strong pistol to have. I find its burst fire actually assists this time, unlike the other weapons, allowing you to easily burst fire into the skulls of law enforcement. The update also came with a free secondary weapon platform, the Tribune 32. This is the first automatic secondary in the game. They seem to have done this after several complaints saying that there's no secondary SMGs. This is a great addition, and honestly, for one of the free alternatives, it's definitely one of the better options in the game. Although, I'm not sure it beats the bull kick, but it's definitely better than the bull kick when it comes to crowd control. But its lack of armor penetration makes it a real pain to deal with shields, so if you're going to run with this, I definitely think of pairing it with the SA-114 or the Sniper is a great idea. The weapon DLC and free gun, I'm going to give an overall 7 out of 10. Very unique, which I love, but slightly undertuned. Now granted, I did end up playing with no skills on this build, so potentially mixed with skills to replenish ammo would help alleviate some of my issues. Alright, the update ain't over yet, people, and on to the biggest part. The heists. We'll start off with the free heist, Diamond District. Now I want to start off by saying do not sleep on this one. For what seems like a simple in and out job, especially with it being inspired by 4 stores from Payday 2, it's actually a complex maze of a heist. The first time I did it, I actually completely missed a whole store. It was so well hidden. Although I did a few completions on this, it felt like every time I was going into a new area and finding out how to get more loot. There's also a decent randomization of a single jewelry cleaner that could spawn in different stores. There's plenty of locked off doors requiring QR codes, but limited amounts of QR codes you could use, which makes it feel like you had to pick and choose wisely on which doors to open. The 2 completions I did as well took me about 20 to 30 minutes each time. You could feel the old school Payday the Heist vibes in terms of the complexity and longevity, which I'm sure Ilya has squeezed in. The secret mechanic they talked about is actually the generator in the middle of the street. It has a 17-meter activation distance, and once activated, puts up a bit of a smoke screen allowing you to go from one alley to the other. It's not perfect though, I did get spotted once or twice while it was on, but this is mainly because I was trying to climb up onto the 2nd floor. And now on to the bread and butter of this update, the DLC heist, part 3 of the Bad Apple arc, Houston Breakout. Now despite its slightly disappointing news of Houston not being playable with this update, the heist itself did not let down. You're brought into the beautiful scenery, the courthouse. The lighting is moody and grim, accompanied by the rainstorm that's going on outside. It really sets the stage of the feelings that you're going through with Houston being in custody, about to be sent into a maximum security prison or death. Our goal is, of course, to come in and rescue him. Once inside, I was a little confused on how to escort Houston. As typically in the past, it's been just stand beside the escort, but for this version, you need to push ahead and clear the way, then Houston will come with. The main question I've seen some people have is the loot and how that works in this heist. But thankfully, narratively, it made sense that just like with Hoxton's Revenge, we're stealing evidence so nobody else has to come after Houston once we're done. This heist does a similar thing to Stealth and Loud gameplay that Boys in Blue did, where you are mainly focused on different sections of the map. Loud is mainly focused on the 1st and 2nd floor, but there's a whole basement that you barely touch unless you're running Stealth. I find this very interesting as it does make Stealth and Loud very different objective-wise, which breaks up the monotony of seeing the same setting over and over. But it does mean that the level may feel a bit empty if you find yourself in those areas accidentally. And of course, what people may not like is that this is no Hoxton Breakout where it's a big 2-day heist. My first completion of this heist took about 20 minutes, which was way shorter than the Diamond District. For being the main aspect of the update, it felt slightly disappointing, albeit it still had its amazing moments. I was only able to complete this one on Loud for the time that I was running it, but hopefully there's a decent amount of randomization I can see from some of the instances. And for the heist, I'll have to give Diamond District a solid 9 out of 10. It has an amazing atmosphere, it's complex, has a decent randomization and exploration aspect to it. Houston Breakout, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Amazing atmosphere, probably one of the best to date, and it has some pretty exciting objectives. Either way, this is just my first impressions. I definitely recommend you try it out. Also, later on this week, I'll be putting up a video detailing all of the story and Easter eggs from the heists, once I've been able to play it a few more times and digest it. And remember, keep those helmets flying, heisters. Thank you so much for watching.